Testing, testing. Okay, welcome to the Public Service Commission's administrative meeting for July 23, 2025. First item are the minutes from our meeting of July 16, 2025. Commissioner McLean.
Aye.
Commissioner Linton.
Aye.
Commissioner Sussman.
Aye.
Commissioner Barbet.
Aye.
You want to vote aye?
I vote aye. Yeah.
Morning, Mr. Chair. There are 4 items on today's consent agenda, although at the outset we are deferring item number 3 to a future administrative meeting. Items number 1 and 2 are applications from Joule EP LLC for licenses to supply electricity and natural gas. And item 4 consists of updated SOS rates from Baltimore Gas and Electric Company.
Okay, regarding item 1, I move we grant the company a license to operate as a electricity supplier in Maryland, limited to broker services for the customer classes and service territories applied for and recommended by staff. Direct the company to provide marketing and training materials specific to its Maryland operations to the commission staff 30 days prior to utilization of the materials in Maryland, and direct the company to notify the commission within 30 days of any change in the application. Commissioner McLean.
Aye.
Commissioner Linton.
Aye.
Commissioner Sussman.
Aye.
Commissioner Barbet.
Aye.
I vote aye. Item 2, I move we grant the company a license to operate as a natural gas supplier in Maryland, limited to broker services for the customer classes and service territories applied for and recommended by staff. Direct the company to provide training materials specific to its Maryland operations to the commission staff 30 days prior to utilization of the materials in Maryland, and direct the company to notify the commission within 30 days of any changes in the information in the application. Commissioner McLean.
Aye.
Commissioner Linton.
Aye.
Commissioner Sussman.
Aye.
Commissioner Barbet.
Aye.
I vote aye. And regarding item 4, I move we accept the tariff provisions for filing with an effective date of September 1, 2025. Commissioner McLean.
Aye.
Commissioner Linton.
Aye.
Commissioner Sussman.
Aye.
Commissioner Barbet.
Aye.
I vote aye.
Item number 5 on the administrative agenda consists of revised tariff pages from Baltimore Gas and Electric Company.
Good morning, Chair and Commissioners. Evan Thomas on behalf of staff. On June 23rd, 2025, Baltimore Gas and Electric Company filed revised tariff pages in compliance with Order Number 91659, the order on request for rehearing and clarification in Case 9692, which is BGE's second multi-year rate plan. The order reduced the revenue requirement for 2026, which is rate year 3 of Case 9692, by $636,000. BGE's filing updates the rate year 3 rates to reflect the $636,000 reduction. These revised rates will become effective on January 1st, 2026. Currently, we are in the middle of rate year 2 of Case 9692. The order also makes smaller adjustments to prior years, a $3,000 decrease for 2024 and a $4,000 increase for 2025. Due to their limited magnitude, these changes do not affect customer rates. In addition, the order revises BGE's reconciliation balances for 2021 and 2022, which were rate years 1 and 2 of Case 9645. These reconciliation balances were revised downward by $99,000. The reconciliation balances for 2021 and 2022 were previously recovered through BGE's MYP adjustment rider, which is no longer active. BGE proposes to incorporate this $99,000 reduction in its 2023 final reconciliation compliance filing once the Commission issues an order on that matter. Staff does not object to that approach, and we estimated what a one-time refund of the $99,000 would look like by customer class, and these amounts are presented in Table 4 of our comments, and for residential customers, the credit would be 8 cents per account. And so staff recommends that the Commission accept the tariff pages for filing with an effective date of August 1st, 2025. Thank you, and I'm available for questions.
Any questions for staff? Seeing none? Yes, sir.
Good morning, Chair Hoover and Commissioners. Michael Sammartino on behalf of the Office of People's Counsel. Don't have much to add to our written comments. Just we appreciate BG's filing, appreciate staff's analysis, and I'm happy to answer any questions that you may have. Thank you.
So, any questions for OPC? Seeing none?
Good morning, Commissioners. Beverly Sikora on behalf of BGE. This is going to pain me terribly to say this, but exactly what Mr. Sammartino said, I agree with.
All right. Okay, with that, I move we accept the tariff provisions for filing with an effective date of August 1, 2025. Commissioner McLean.
Aye.
Commissioner Linton.
Aye.
Commissioner Sussman.
Aye.
Commissioner Barbie.
Aye.
I vote aye.
Item number 6 is a reconciliation report from Chesapeake Utilities of Maryland, Inc.
Good morning, Commissioner Chair and Commissioners. Mark Riley on behalf of staff. On May 28, 2025, Chesapeake Utilities Maryland Division filed its 2025 Strategic Infrastructure Development and Enhancement STRIDE Final Reconciliation Report, Mail Log 319198. On June 3, 2025, the company refiled to replace the report that it filed on May 28th. The company is proposing to refund the overpayment amount to customer accounts by applying a one-time credit to all accounts. On March 27th, 2025, Chesapeake, Sandpiper Energy, and Elkton Gas filed a proposed tariff that reflects the consolidation of the three companies. As a result of Case 9722, Chesapeake's most recent base rate case with a final order effective April 19th, 2025, Elkton, now Chesapeake Utilities, Maryland Division ended the STRIDE surcharge. Staff confirmed refund calculations in Table 1 as filed by the company were based on the legacy class structure in effect during the period in which the STRIDE costs were collected. The company also confirmed that customers who began service after the date of the final order will not receive a refund. Staff reviewed the calculations in Table 1 and confirmed the calculations were accurate. Staff recommends the Commission accept Chesapeake's final reconciliation factor report and authorize the company to refund the over-collection amount as a one-time credit using the rates in Table 1.
So, any questions? Seeing none?
Good morning, Mr. Chairman, Commissioners. Brian Quinn on behalf of Chesapeake Utilities. Obviously in support of staff's comments and our filing, and I'm here to answer any questions, and I'm joined by a representative of the company, if I can.
Okay, any questions? Oh, Commissioner Linton.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Good morning. Just one question. It wasn't clear to me who was going to receive the refund. Is it all of the customers of all three companies, or is it just the ones from
It's just the customers from Elkton.
From the legacy Elkton.
just the legacy customers from Elkton?
Sorry, Mark.
So they're the ones receiving the refund. So the Sandpiper customers and Chesapeake customers aren't getting one.
That's correct, Commissioner Linton. The legacy STRIDE program was in effect only for Elkton.
Right.
And then this past rate case, the commission approved a partial consolidation of the companies into one.
Okay. All right. That was it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, seeing nobody else. All right, with that, I move we accept the company's final reconciliation factor report and authorize the company to refund the overcollection amount as a one-time credit using the rates in Table 1. Commissioner McLean.
Aye.
Commissioner Linton.
Aye.
Commissioner Sussman.
Aye.
Commissioner Barbie.
Aye.
I vote aye.
Item number 7 is a request from Teleport Communications America, LLC.
Good morning, Mr. Chair, Commissioners. Cameron Walton on behalf of staff. On June 6, 2025, Teleport Communications America, LLC, TCAL, filed a request for a waiver to overturn the North American Numbering Plan Administrator, NAMPA, denial of the company's request for 3,000 blocks of contiguous numbers. The company made this application for numbers due to a request from a customer, which the company could not meet with its current inventory. NAMPA denied the request because the company did not meet the utilization rate requirement. However, NAMPA's decision is based solely on the utilization rate requirement and does not take into account whether or not the customer has a verifiable need for numbering resources. Federal Communications Commission Order 01362 describes the safety valve mechanism that delegates authority to state commissions to direct NAMPA to assign numbering resources when a verifiable need for additional numbering has been demonstrated. Staff believes this use case constitutes a verifiable need for numbering resources, and that NAMPA's denial of the request numbers be overturned. Therefore, staff recommends that the Commission grant a waiver for TCAL to obtain the requested 3,000 block of contiguous numbers from NAMPA. Thank you, and I'm available for any questions.
So, any questions? Well, actually, I have one. So, I understand that part of this is confidential, and I'm not going to get into that part, but it seems to me that this is a fairly routine process where, some entity requests a collection of numbers, and the NAPA folks turn it down, and then they show up here, and we grant their waiver. I mean, is there something that it seems like this is kind of a almost like a choreography that we go through that strikes me as unusual, maybe not necessary. I mean, I don't have any concerns about this specific application, but just this process that we repeatedly go through.
I agree. I've seen that it's been something that's been going on for over the years. I think the best we could do probably just make it a consent agenda maybe, but other than that, it's kind of just the same routine type of thing.
So, I mean, is there some lack of recognition by NAPA to these requests, that they seem to routinely deny them, and then, like I said, the folks show up here, we give them a waiver, and people get what they want. So it almost strikes me as this kind of not useless, but strange circumstance that we have to go through all the time.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, that kabuki theater is kind of what comes to mind. So.
Yeah, absolutely. I think also just because it's federally mandated that we just have to go through this process, but I do agree with you that it is kind of comes to us and then it's agreed upon anyway, based off of the utilization rate or monthly exhaustion rate.
Okay, all right. Well, with that, I move we overturn the NAPA decision to withhold the numbering resources specified in the company's filing, with the expectation that NAPA will grant the company's request for 3,000 blocks of contiguous numbers as described in the company's filing. Commissioner McLean.
Aye.
Commissioner Linton.
Aye.
Commissioner Suchman.
Aye.
Commissioner Barbay. Aye. I vote aye.
Item number 8 is a request for an extension from Old Marlboro Pike Solar LLC.
Good morning, Chair and Commissioners. Harrison Scher on behalf of staff. On June 11th, 2025, Old Marlboro Pike Solar LLC filed a request to extend the operational deadline of its 2-megawatt project in Prince George's County by 18 months until November 18th, 2026. The company requested that the Commission grant a waiver of COMAR 2062-0304C pursuant to 2062-0104 for good cause shown. The company cites a lack of responsiveness from PEPCO, delays in permitting, as well as the company's project manager leaving the company as primary drivers leading to operational deadline to lapse and the resulting extension request. The project received a 12-month extension of its original operating deadline by paying the $50 per kilowatt deposit to PEPCO, a total of $100,000 pursuant to COMAR 2062-0304C. The company's filing states that this process took 10 months for PEPCO to process due to a lack of responsiveness and errors in invoicing. This is the company's first request with the Commission for an extension of its operational deadline. Now that the Community Solar Program has transitioned to the permanent program, there are no longer utility-specific capacity limits. The granting of the requested extension would not harm other community solar projects, as there is no longer a race amongst projects to secure utility-specific capacity limits. The project estimates that pre-construction development activities are 75% completed with anticipated commercial operation targeted for 2026. Staff finds that there is good cause to grant a waiver of the operational deadline and that the company should be issued a $200 penalty for allowing the current deadline to expire. Thank you, and I'm available for questions.
So, questions for staff? Commissioner Linton?
Sure, I'll start. Good morning. So I appreciate the staff's proposed motion to the commission. It does differ from what the company, the developer proposed. So can we at least agree that there was no administrative or clerical error committed by the technical staff or our executive secretary's division?
Yes, I would agree with that. There was no error.
Okay, so this is basically just a request for a retroactive waiver.
Yes, in the sense that the operational deadline has expired. Yes.
Okay. All right, so did the staff explore why the filing, I know the developer's here today, I can certainly ask them, but since the staff is suggesting that there is good cause shown, did you explore why the request was filed past the operational deadline date? Why the waiver filing was late?
Yes, we did meet with the company and discuss this, but I will allow them to explain in more detail.
Okay. All right, that's fine. The developer, in order to justify the request for a good cause waiver, did make a couple of statements here that I'm just curious to see if the staff also looked into those as part of your review. The first, which you also mentioned in your summary, is that there was some issue relating to the communication between the utility company and the developer. The utility, of course, being Pepco. I don't know if they're here today, if they were going to respond to that. If they aren't, I'm curious if the staff did look into that to see what was going on.
No, did not reach out to Pepco in that regard.
Okay. All right. Yeah. Is there someone from Pepco here today? Oh, there is. Okay, good.
Okay.
Well, I mean, you don't have to respond yet. I can certainly hold the question, but at least you know it's coming. Because I think that's an important issue for us to understand if something else is going on that we don't know about, especially if it's with one of our regulated utility companies. So I'll ask the same question because the developer also mentioned that there was some challenges in responding to and interacting with Prince George's County. Was there an opportunity to interact with the county to see if what was happening there, or is this something that you've seen on a regular basis from Prince George's County? Or?
I wouldn't limit it to just Prince George's County. The permitting process in general seems to often be met with delays and unexpected happenings with many of these community solar projects. But no, did not directly interact with Prince George's County.
Okay. All right. And I guess finally, just in support of their arguments for good cause, the developer also noted that they had some internal hirings and employees moving on. Did the staff determine, or at least through your review of the developers filing and communicating with them, did you sense that, or did you see that that this issue has been resolved? That whatever problems they were having with keeping employees or losing employees, it is not an issue anymore?
Yes, it's staff's understanding that the project manager that left has been replaced and that all the proper managers are in place at this time to move the project forward.
Okay. All right. Thank you. That's all I had. Thank you, Mr.
Commissioner Sussman.
Morning, Mr. Chair. So you mentioned that because the community solar limits are gone in the permanent program, then granting the waiver would not have a negative impact on other community solar developers. There's no longer a race to satisfy meet under, to get the amount that they need under the deadline. Is that,
Yes,
Okay.
that's correct.
okay? But, does that also apply to the interconnection queue? So in other words, if we were to deny the extension to this project, would that help other community solar projects that are behind them in the queue in order to get interconnection?
Michael Dean on behalf of staff. I don't know the specifics of this particular project, but in general, it doesn't affect the queue positions on the interconnection unless there are multiple projects on the same feeder or coming from the same substation. In that case, if a project was assessed the cost of an upgrade and a later project is coming onto the queue and somewhat benefits from that, if the first project was caused to be abandoned by, say, not approving an extension request, then the second project would have to be reevaluated as far as assessment.
Right, and do we know whether that's the case for this particular project?
No, I don't know the specifics of this particular project.
Okay, perhaps the company would be able to respond to that question. So, thank you.
So, actually, one question from me, the $200 fine, how is that determined? Is that some formula or?
No formula. I think it's been 2 months since the original operational deadline surpassed, so $200 seemed reasonable.
I see. Okay. All right.
Morning, Mr. Chairman and Commissioners. Max Cook on behalf of Old Marlboro Pike Solar LLC. I'm also joined by Mr. Craig Knowlton with the developer. I do want to note that the applicant is reviewed and does not object to the penalty recommendation by staff. Mr. Knowlton is also available to speak with respect to project delays and the deadline lapse as well.
Okay. So, Commissioner Linton, do you want to?
Sure.
Yeah.
Good morning. So I guess my first question is the one that I already asked the technical staff earlier. In your filing, you requested what effectively was just a retroactive waiver.
Correct.
But you couched it under the very old legal theory of nunc pro tunc, which many folks know I've had some challenges with. And I've tried to state them before, although it may have been a couple of years ago. But generally speaking, we've already heard from the staff that there was no administrative or technical issue from this commission's perspective that we're aware of. Isn't this just a retroactive waiver request and not an assertion that the commission or executive secretary or staff did something incorrect with your application?
Correct. The reason we missed the deadline was purely human error within our company.
Okay. All right. So that's the appropriate way to request it. I'm not saying it grants it or doesn't grant it, but as an administrative agency, creating a record like that where we acknowledge or accept some type of responsibility can be problematic, especially if others decide to look at what we're doing and why, and that happens all the time. So if you're making a late filing, and as many other parties do, you simply just say, sorry, we're late, and you request the leave to continue, and maybe you get it, maybe you don't, but that's the appropriate way, and your counsel certainly is aware of that. So I'm speaking to the choir to some extent. So you said earlier that you had some internal administrative issue. Are those matters resolved now?
Yes, just our project manager for this project left the company in the spring, and he worked underneath me. I'm the general manager, And before his departure, he assured me that all key dates and deadlines were on our shared calendar, and it turned out, this one was not. And so the moment we realized we'd missed it, we, sprung into action to file this.
Well, I mean, this seems like a pretty important one.
It extremely important. And I had, called out that this one in particular had to be, I had to have alerts set and everything, and we dropped the ball.
Okay. So you also mentioned you're requesting a good faith waiver, primarily because our regulations don't really authorize a second waiver. You've already had one, and based on your own filing, you stated that you paid, I believe it was, as required by our regulations, a deposit of $100,000. This second waiver is for 18 months as opposed to 12 for the first one, and the second one would be free. Is that your understanding?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So I'll digress here for a second. Has your project enrolled any consumers, any subscribers at this point?
We have not begun the subscriber acquisition process yet.
Okay. All right, good. So let's get to the justifications that you've offered for the good cause waiver. One of them we've already talked about, which is internal staffing issues. The second one, which I believe to be a bit more concerning, is the claims that one of the regulated utilities wasn't responsive. Can you explain a little more what actually happened?
Sure, and I don't believe that caused any delays from our end to miss this deadline. It was just the payment of the $100,000 for the initial extension. We just requested a method to pay that amount and to make it official, and it just essentially was billing errors with Pepco, where it took about 8 or 10 months to get that across the finish line. But that
Okay,
didn't lead to this delay.
So it's not. So that's not being referenced here as a justification for good cause.
I think it's just adding color to the confusion about why we missed the deadline internally, because we didn't actually make the payment for the last one until early this year, and so.
So
And, in a,
okay.
jump in?
Morning, Commissioner. The one other piece I would add with respect to that additional color, I think, as Mr. Knowlton indicated, that there was that I believe it was 8 months of back and forth with respect to that payment, and there was confusion with respect to when that payment was made and when the deadline essentially extended out to. And I know that was internal confusion as well. So I think, that's what was being referenced, and I think the good cause waiver itself is more with respect to those internal challenges that Mr. Knowlton spoke to.
All right. I think it's coming a little into view for me now. If I can see if I get it right. So what you're suggesting is that you wanted to request a waiver and you did, but you didn't, and no, you needed some additional information to pay the $100,000 fee. So you had the waiver, but you hadn't paid the fee yet.
Correct.
And it took you about 8 months to get whatever information you needed from Pepco in order to pay the fee. But you had already had the benefit of the waiver the entire time. That's what it sounds like.
Correct.
You're telling me. Is that accurate?
Correct.
Okay. So then that doesn't sound as though any issues with Pepco is a part of the good cause argument for this second waiver.
That's correct, Commissioner.
Okay. All right. So now we're down to the Prince George's County issues related to the rainwater extensions or investigations. Have those been resolved now, or are they still pending?
Sure. Yes, everything's going well with Prince George's County now. The first 2 years of this project were very slow going and getting through our stormwater plan and also working out a roadway dedication plan with Pepco and a waiver for roadway dedications. But once those items were solved, we've been making good progress. And had a meeting with the county last week, and their historic preservation committee, approved the project, and we have a mandatory referral meeting scheduled for the last day of this month.
And Commissioner, if I could add one additional piece of color, as Mr. Scher said earlier in when he was speaking with respect to this project, I think what we've seen across the board with these extension requests is it's not necessarily a blame placed on the county. It's just a lot can come up with respect to these permitting, and I know that the mandatory referral process specifically within Prince George's County, there are several review agencies, and it is an arduous process. So the developer's working through that and has made significant progress, but it is a long process to get through, which is why I know several extensions have cited that in the past.
Okay. All right, so I just have one last topic then, and thank you for the answer. You've obviously you're aware of, as a developer, you're aware of the changes that have been made over the last couple of weeks on the federal government side for support of these projects. It's obviously been concerning to me. It's been concerning to my colleagues and many other people who are supportive of the industry and want to see it continue to prosper. So I'm looking at a waiver like this, and you obviously have done some work, but whether or not that's going to be enough to continue being supported financially, at least to some extent, on the federal side, I don't know the answer to that yet. And I don't know that anybody does, because there's still a lot more information still to come. But in this waiver, you are effectively going to ask for it, and if granted, it's 18 months, which is, almost a lifetime nowadays when it comes to some of the changes in this industry. You'll get it for free. Well, I guess you pay $200, assuming that that's the charge the commission adopts here today. What assurances do we have that Maryland is going to benefit from this project, from the generation of these panels, and that our consumers who could be subscribers in the future are going to benefit from it?
Commissioner, I can start and let my client jump in to the extent I miss anything, but I will say that, as I've indicated, the project is moving forward and it has secured start of construction status with respect to the 2025 income tax credits by purchasing a significant portion of project materials. So I realize that things are a moving target right now with respect to how the federal government is making decisions, but the project is intending to move forward and has made that purchase to remain financially viable for the project to proceed.
Okay. All right. I don't know if you wanted to add anything additional, or?
No, just want to support that. We have, according to the current regulations, you can begin construction of a project in the eyes of the Treasury Department by purchasing over 5% of materials for the project. And so we have done that and secured materials for this project so that it can maintain its tax status and the investment tax credits.
So, and I won't go into too much detail with how your books are operating, but I'll just ask: are you just at the 5%, or do you believe yourself to be higher than that?
We've gone above that to have a buffer.
Okay. All right. All right. I think I've taken enough time. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you for your questions.
Sure. Commissioner Schlesman.
So to follow up on the commissioner's questions about the status of and I'm assuming you're going to be relying on an ITC or not a PTC.
Correct, actually.
Okay. So and I'm assuming if the ITC were not to be available to your project, would the project be able to move forward at that point, or it wouldn't be financially viable?
It'd be borderline. We'd have to do a deep assessment.
Okay. And you're meeting the safe harbor definition that the Treasury Department has established. But everything we're reading suggests that there's going to be a new definition of safe harbor to require some kind of construction to have started. Do you, sort of anticipating that change could come within the next couple of weeks? I mean, we're hearing perhaps some issuance in August. Would you be in a position to be able to satisfy that condition?
Yes, because we anticipate to mobilize and begin construction on site this year.
Okay, and that would be this year being sometime in the fall.
Yes, Commissioner, we indicated Q4 2025.
Okay, all right, thank you.
Commissioner Barbe.
Just for my information, you said that there are a lot of different agencies in Prince George's County that have to be gone through. The primary agency, though, is the Prince George's County National Capital Park and Planning Commission, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Does the Park and Planning Commission coordinate all of those different agencies for you, or do you have to actually go on a hunting mission to find all these people and get all? I just want to know about the complexity associated with getting all the permits.
Sure. In the mandatory referral process, essentially, we're referred to every department or agency or committee within the county. And so they do help to wrangle all those entities together. And essentially, we get comments back from all of them, and then ultimately have a hearing with the recommendations from the various departments.
Okay, good to know. Thank you.
Okay, anybody else? Alrighty. With that, I move we grant a waiver.
Well, but we wanted to hear from him.
Oh, that's right. Okay. Well, I think he.
Good morning, Chairman and Commissioners. Taylor Beckham here on behalf of Potomac Electric Power Company. We can definitely, I think, with the questioning from Commissioner Linton, we've gotten kind of to the bottom of really what was going on here. We can certainly take back and look into that 8 to 10 month invoicing issue that seems to, though not have caused their reason for needing the waiver on the deadline, but we can take a look and see what happened here and get back to the commission.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Good morning, and I appreciate that. I did have one other question related to the queue as it stands currently with Pepco. Do you have other companies or other developers that are? We've heard this morning that there isn't a wait. So is that the case or no?
I can also take that back and get back to you. If I can have the answer to you by the end of today, I will. But I don't have that information with me as of right now.
Okay.
And just to make sure I understand, there's no other projects behind this current project. Is that the question?
For purposes of interconnection, yes.
Okay. Yeah.
So we know that we're transitioning to a permanent program. So as the staff has mentioned this morning, there shouldn't be a wait. But at the same time, there could be potential challenges with actually interconnecting because of other issues related to location and things of that sort. So we basically just want to make sure that if there's another developer ready to go, that we aren't telling them, sorry, you have to wait, but we're going to give a waiver to a developer that's not yet ready to go, and that waiver is going to be for 18 more months.
Got it.
Especially in the current climate where where there's going to be some attrition here, unfortunately. But so we want to try and get as many as we can connected so we can benefit from it and so that they can benefit as well. But
certainly, yeah, I can take that back and get back to you as soon as I can.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Commissioner Sussman.
Right, and to just add on to that, in response to Mr. Scher's comment that no solar developers would be affected, should we do a waiver? To the extent that there are developers that are in the queue waiting to move forward, they are going to be negatively impacted. If we agree to the waiver, for a company, and we're not suggesting that your company is not ready to go, but for a company that's not ready to go and then holding that spot where another company is ready to go and can take advantage of what they've done, except for their position in the queue. And so I don't feel like I'm ready to make a decision until we know that if there's nobody else in the queue, clearly no one is going to get affected or going to be affected by our agreeing to the waiver. But if there are several projects ready to go that are in the queue and then have been sitting waiting for their position but couldn't move forward because this project is ahead of them, that's, I think, something that I would like to know before voting on this.
Certainly. Okay. Again, I don't have that immediate information on hand right now. I can take it back, though, and get back to you guys as soon as I can.
Okay, so let me ask this question for the applicant. If we do not act today, we're actually not having a meeting next week, which means the soonest we'll get to this is the beginning of August. Does that create any extreme difficulties for you?
Well, what I can say, Commissioner, Mr. Chairman, is that due to the lapsed waiver, what we would then request, which was in our initial request, would be a temporary waiver in the interim until the commission is able to make a decision, to the extent that PEPCO were to make any changes within its queue. So we would respectfully request, which was in our initial filing, a temporary waiver in the interim. And I believe Mr. Scher indicated this, or Mr. Dean, but I did also want to note that there is, with respect to other customers, in the interconnection queue, if a project is removed, my understanding is that those projects below it would then potentially have to be restudied and could be borne with different upgrade costs as well. So it wouldn't necessarily be a strict benefit to those projects as well. I did just want to note that as well.
Okay. So anybody have a problem with the?
So, Mr. Chairman, if we get the information from PEPCO today, if we were to take this matter under advisement, then we could probably issue something relatively quickly.
All right, so that's what we're going to do. We'll take it under advisement, and we'll either issue a waiver based on what we find out from PEPCO, or we'll give you the interim waiver until the next meeting. So, all right.
Item number 9 is the request for an extension from Downsville Solar to LLC.
Michael Dean again on behalf of staff. Item 9 is a request filed by Downsville Solar 2 LLC for an 18-month extension of its operational deadline specified in Comar 20.62.03.04C for its 2-megawatt community solar energy generating station located in Washington County. Because the filing was made near to the original deadline of July 14, 2025, Downsville requested a temporary extension of the deadline to allow its request to be considered at an administrative meeting, which the Commission granted by letter order on June 3, 2025. Under the Community Solar Statute at Public Utilities 7-306.2, small solar energy facilities are built and generate electricity for the distribution system, which is credited to the electric bill of its subscribers, which are intended to be low and moderate income customers of the local electric company. However, if a project fails to begin operating within 36 months of the submission of the application, the electric company is to remove it from the company's program queue. Comar 20.62.0104 provides that the Commission may waive a regulation in this subtitle for good cause shown. This is the first extension request for Downsville before the Public Service Commission, although they did pay a $100,000 deposit with the local electric company, Potomac Edison, for being on its queue after 1 year. year. A project is required to obtain local, county, and city approvals. In this case, some of the site design and county approvals may need to be revised because the geophysical study of the project site found significant karst or limestone-filled areas. Staff agrees that good cause has been showed for the limited waiver of the regulation establishing the operational deadline to extend it by 18 months. Staff is operating on the corrected copy of its staff comments because it had a error on the first page. This matter was previously heard at last week's administrative meeting and was deferred for commissioner questions regarding the electric company queue for the community solar energy generating systems. Staff recommends that the commission grant the requested limited waiver of COMAR 20.62.03.04C and extend the operational deadline for the project to January 14, 2027. Thank you.
Okay, any questions? Commissioner Linton?
Sure, I'll have more fun. So, good morning. You mentioned in your opening comment, your summary, that this matter was postponed from a prior hearing to this one to address questions of the status of the queue. Do you have any update for us?
I spoke with Jessica Raba and Mark Zuka of the Potomac Edison Company, and although it's still called the queue, there is nothing within it under the current regulations and statute that affect the relative position of the companies or the projects in the queue. So although it's called a queue, it's not an ordered queue. It's just a waiting box, so to speak.
Right. So is there anyone in the box currently?
Yes, the queues of all the companies are posted online on their websites, and I believe there's like 8 or 9 projects listed in the Potomac Edison queue right now.
Okay. And in the staff's position or opinion, are there any, would other projects be impacted if a waiver was granted for this one?
No, there would be no effect on other projects within the queue.
Okay. All right. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Anybody else?
Just,
Commissioner Sussman?
okay, just so that I'm clear, either granting the waiver or denying the waiver would have no benefit to any other projects that are in the box.
That is correct.
So do you have a sense of how the company makes decisions about who gets interconnected?
That is based on when projects become ready for the work to be done.
Okay, so it's not, so no project can sort of hog the queue because it's really, they're going to look to see what project's ready to go at whatever point.
That's correct.
Okay, thank you.
Commissioner Barbe?
So basically, first come, first serve?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Morning again, Mr. Chairman and Commissioners. Max Cook on behalf of Downsville Solar 2 LLC. I'm also joined by Mr. Jesse Cutea with the developer. We're here to answer any questions from the Commissioner. Thank you.
Any questions for? Actually, just one for me. This is the brownfield site, correct?
No, this is not, Mr. Chairman, but this is a site that when site mapping and planning occurred, there was a significant amount of karst, and that caused several redesigns and resubmittals with Washington County, who has been helping keep things moving, but this was purely just redesigned due to geological issues.
Okay. All right. With that, I move we grant the company the requested limited waiver of COMAR 20.62.04C and extend the operational deadline for the project until January 14, 2027. Commissioner McLean.
Aye.
Commissioner Linton.
Aye.
Commissioner Sussman.
Aye.
Commissioner Barbe.
Our soil is bad news. Aye.
I vote aye.
Item number 10 is a refund request from Alpha Structure EMTOC LLC.
Good morning, Chair and Commissioners. Andrew Schlicht on the behalf of staff. On February 28th, 2024, Alpha Structure filed a CPCN exemption application with the Commission. This solar facility was later approved. Alpha Structure, as part of this application, filed a 1% deposit representing the total project costs in accordance with the PUA. The application was approved by the Commission, and in this instance filing, the company has iterated that it is fully authorized to commence construction, and the company requests the Commission refund the deposit. Staff recommends the Commission 1, approve the refund request, and 2, refund the deposit minus any reasonable administrative charges. Staff is available for questions.
Any questions? Actually, just one for me. This refund deposit minus reasonable administrative charges. Has that already been agreed to between staff and the applicant?
Those are charges determined by the fiscal department, by the fiscal division. So they would be better versed in addressing what those charges are.
All right. So is there any disagreement from your end?
Morning again, Mr. Chairman and Commissioners. Max Cook on behalf of Alpha Structure MTOC LLC. We've reviewed staff's filing. Have nothing further to add. I will say we have not had any discussions as Commission staff said. It's a decision made by the fiscal department, but we have no objections and expect them to be reasonable fees.
Okay. Anybody? All right. I move we approve the refund request and refund the deposit minus reasonable administrative charges. Commissioner McLean.
Aye.
Commissioner Linton.
Aye.
Commissioner Sussman.
Aye.
Commissioner Barba.
Aye.
I vote aye.
Item number 11 is a waiver request from GAF Materials LLC.
Good morning again, Mr. Chair and Commissioners. Cameron Walton on behalf of staff. And on the podium with me is Barbara Weber of the Engineering Division. On May 20th, 2025, GAF Materials filed a request to waive an interruption and penalty fee assessed by BGE. This fee was incurred due to GAF's failure to cease gas usage during a scheduled interruption period, which began at 10 a.m. on Monday, January 20th, 2025, and concluded at 10 a.m. on Thursday, January 23rd, 2025. GAF, a roofing manufacturer in Baltimore City, was non-compliant for 72 hours after not receiving a replacement thermocouple that was needed for their south furnace to run without concern for safety. The thermocouple monitors the overheating of a furnace, acting as a safety device to alarm workers of temperature issues. GAF has 2 furnaces, north and south. Only the south furnace is permitted by an environmental air permit to run on number 2 fuel oil due to the type of equipment. GAF became aware of the problem with this south furnace on December 2nd, 2024, during a routine maintenance check. GAF immediately sought a replacement thermocouple, but was unable to secure an order until December 30th, 2024. This delay was due to the thermocouple not being a regularly stocked item by GAF's parts supplier. The part could not be expedited and had a delivery period of 5 weeks. By the time GAF determined that the south furnace could not operate during the interruption, transferring the north furnace's thermocouple to the south furnace was deemed too risky, as it could leave the facility with no operational furnaces. Additionally, shutting down the facility would have required additional time, as the furnace needed approximately 2 days to cool down properly. A sudden shutdown would cause the asphalt to stop flowing and solidify, a dangerous risk. GAF communicated with BGE regarding its inability to cease gas consumption while reducing its usage to 6,008 therms. During the interruption, GAF utilized fuel oil to heat its machinery, with natural gas being consumed only by the north furnace. BGE's tariff for IS customers, paragraph 3.4b, states the Public Service Commission may reduce or waive entirely the distribution penalty fee of a customer who demonstrated a good faith effort to interrupt gas usage. The demonstration of a good faith effort shall include 1. Efforts made prior to an interruption to be fully compliant. 2. The reason for noncompliance. 3. Efforts to correct noncompliance during the interruption. And 4. Customer actions after the interruption to be fully compliant in the future. Prior to the interruption, JEF received BGE's professional engineer certificate in place of the physical interruption test. After being unable to comply with the directive by BGE to cease gas usage, JEF reduced gas consumption to an average of 83 therms per hour. Following the event, JEF installed a new thermocouple and secured a spare. Though reliance on a single furnace may continue to pose a compliance risk. The engineering division has reviewed the filing and recommends a 25% reduction in the assigned penalty in light of the unforeseen equipment failure, documented efforts to reduce usage, and corrective actions taken. Based on the good faith efforts that JEF made prior to, during, and after the interruption, staff believes it is reasonable to grant JEF a 25% reduction in the penalty. This will reduce the penalty fee to $517,093. Thank you, and I'm available for any questions.
Well, all right, Commissioner Barbe, and then
How did you arrive at the 25% number? Was it just, well, how did you arrive at it?
Yeah, so there was no formula. It was just based off of the good faith efforts and how well the customer fit those efforts, and that's how the 25%.
Is it ever considered, you know, when you're an interruptible power customer, you have to do more than just, you know, I would assume it would be reasonable to have a plan years in advance and to occasionally do tests so that a mishap like this requiring a hard to procure part wouldn't be a problem. Do you think it would have been more appropriate for them to have a year in advance done a trial run to see whether or not their alternative system was working?
Absolutely. So based on the DRs, it seemed like JF did do yearly maintenance checks. I do think they could have done possibly, check during the winter months. For this interruption period, they did check in December 2nd, 2024. Could they have done multiple checks? Probably. I do think so.
So you're saying that they had done a check in a prior year or something, or?
Yeah. So based off the DR, their last check that they did on South Furnace was September 23rd. September 2023, and then the next test was December 2nd, 2024.
Okay. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
anybody else? Commissioner Schlesman?
The south furnace is the furnace that's under the interruptible rate, or are they both under the interruptible rate?
So they're both under the interruptible rate, but the south furnace is the only one that's permitted to run on the fuel oil, number 2 fuel oil.
Okay, so once they receive a notice that there's an interruption, they need to cease operating the furnace for
Yes,
that
with
period
natural
of
gas.
time. Okay, and they had this thermocouple that was failing.
Yes. Mhm.
And so they needed to replace it. And you note in your buck sheet that reliance on a single fuel-fired furnace for curtailment compliance may continue to pose a risk in future interruptible events. I mean, interruptible rates are really important, or the ability of the company to rely on customers to interrupt their service is really important for the rest of customers within the service territory, which is why they get such a great discount.
Right.
And where the company can't rely on these customers to interrupt service, that's going to have an impact on other customers as well. So there was a 72-hour period where they could not, where they had some reduction in usage, but not full reduction in usage. Did that have an impact on other customers within the service territory?
Not to my knowledge. I know that they, I think typically JF runs about 133 therms per hour on like an average annual year. This time they brought it down to 83 therms with usage. but I would have to defer that to BGE too.
Okay. Now you said that it wasn't that this wasn't foreseen. This was an unforeseen situation, and yet now they have a redundancy, which they didn't have before, which suggests to me that this should either was foreseen or should have been foreseen. And I mean, as much as they're posing a risk right now, and they have a redundancy, there was a greater risk when they didn't have the redundancy. So it seems to me that this was kind of inevitable, that that at some point they were going to be asked to reduce, and they didn't have an ability, they had no backup. And so, I mean, it seems to me that this is a customer that should not be on an interruptible rate if they don't have the ability to exercise that reduction when it's needed. I mean, what's the point of having an interruptible rate? And we had this issue come up a couple of months ago with a hospital that should also not be on an interruptible rate. I mean, these are customers that the company has to be able to rely on to reduce consumption, and it just seems to me that that GAF was putting the entire system at risk. And I guess I'm hoping that no customer was affected, but certainly there could have been customers that were affected, and maybe some significantly, because this customer, the GAF, put the rest of the system at risk. I don't really understand why we're even suggesting that there be a reduction in penalty. And I'm thinking, I mean, if they continue to pose a risk to the system, I'm not understanding why they are allowed to remain on an interruptible rate. That's all I have.
Okay. Anybody else? Alrighty. So, if you're the representatives from the company, you can go ahead and make.
Yes, Mr. Chair, Commissioners. I'm Colin Wojcicki of Gallagher, Vilas & Jones on behalf of GAF Materials, LLC. With me today, I have Sunil Naik, who's Senior Director of Procurement for GAF Materials, as well as Michael Klota, who's Engineering Manager of GAF's Ponca Street facility here in Baltimore. We're very grateful for the opportunity to discuss this issue with you here today. As outlined by staff, I mean, GAF was put in a tough position and did everything in its power to comply with the interruptible service when it received notice of it. In December of 2024, when it discovered that its thermocouple needed to be replaced, which is its alternative fuel system, the thermocouple, I think it's important to understand, is a very crucial piece of basically the furnace's public safety operation. This alerts staff there if the furnace is overheating, and allows them the ability to basically trip the system to turn it off to prevent an explosion. So it's not something that we took lightly and wanted to basically risk running an alternative fuel source on during the interruptible period, which is something we could have done, but we took that public safety, I guess, obligation, you could say, very seriously. We appreciate staff's recommendation in terms of the 25% reduction. As I've heard the Commission discuss before, the standard in determining a waiver is good faith, and as staff noted, quote, "We made a good faith effort to interrupt our gas consumption and was able to reduce natural gas consumption during the interruption period." A couple points I would specifically like to highlight here. I know that during the waiver appeal season, everybody comes in with a story, everybody comes in with special circumstances. This is a case based entirely on a broken part that is needed for safety being unavailable, and as highlighted by the comments from the engineering division in the staff report, quote, "The damage that required the part was discovered on December 2nd, 2024, but supply delays prevented timely repair, which was a factor that was likely beyond GAF's control." GAF stood ready and willing and able, so it thought, with getting this part, to comply with the interruption, even instructing its employees to dress in layers and stay warm, but this was a circumstance entirely beyond our control that prevented us from complying. There was simply nothing more that GAF could have done to be prepared for this curtailment, and then when it began, we did everything in our power to significantly reduce our gas consumption, which we did significantly reduce. I would add that GAF has been participating in the interruptible service program for as long as anyone at GAF can recall, and has never had a compliance issue before. and to the question of savings realized by participating in the program, the staff recommendation considers GAF a high-usage customer and states that as of February 1st, 2025, higher usage customers such as GAF save $1,338,448 yearly by taking service from BG&E under Schedule IS rather than Schedule C. On a 5-year average, higher usage customers have saved $920,938 on a yearly basis. I would respectfully submit that that is not the savings we believe we are realizing. Our calculations show the average annual savings over the last 3 years has been closer to $475,000 a year, which is about what the 25% reduction proposed by staff would be here today. I understand, again, as I said, that everybody has a story when they come here with these in this season, but as a matter of public safety, GAF made the conscious decision not to run on an alternative fuel source, even though it had the capability and capacity to do so, but it just wasn't comfortable with doing that, and it informed BG&E. We're making a management decision to move forward with running natural gas because we're not comfortable taking this safety risk and running a large furnace that we don't know if it could be overheating and bent on exploding at any moment. We would respectfully request that you consider staff's report there based on those factors.
Okay.
And we're happy for any questions.
Commissioner Barbe.
Yes, so when the company discovered that it wasn't going to be able to comply with the order to discontinue, did the company offer to BG&E to switch to Schedule C?
I'm not aware. I don't know that we're aware if that offer was made. No, I don't know if we're aware if that offer was available in that moment. I mean, I can tell you that when in the...
It seems to me, as a business person, if I am unable to comply with Schedule IS, I would probably be advised by my legal counsel to convert to Schedule C in order to be able to continue to maintain operations, and perhaps even to voluntarily offer to pay the difference for perhaps that year. I mean, I suspect that's what I would have done if it were my company.
Yes, and I would submit, Commissioner, that in light of this incident and having learned from our mistakes, we are certainly considering that, as your fellow commissioner noted, perhaps this is not the most appropriate schedule for us to be on. It doesn't make sense given that we only have 2 furnaces there, and we are...
So currently you are still on interruptible service schedule. You haven't, after this event, made a decision to switch to Schedule C, I presume, correct?
Good morning, Commissioners. So we did have a change in our furnace itself at the site, and that new furnace is incapable of operating on number 2 fuel, so we are actually going to be going off of an interruptible supply. And to address your previous question as well, when we realized we were not going to be able to bring down our consumption on the furnace, we did acknowledge that there would be a penalty, and that was advised to us by our utility management company, Schneider Electric, and they did inform us that there would be almost a 3x to 5x penalty rate, and we did acknowledge that even with BGE as well, saying, like, you know, we are not going to be able to reduce for all the public service concerns that was already mentioned, and that we do understand that there would be a higher penalty rate.
So what schedule are you on right now?
So we haven't yet gotten off the interruptible schedule because we have applied to be able to get off, and that process is ongoing. I believe we should be off in the next few weeks.
Okay, well, I guess that answers my questions. I have to say, you know, I'm a little, I have some experience in this. My father-in-law, living in Dallas, Texas, was without heat for 3 days because one major company decided that they would pay the penalty and continue producing computer chips. And so we had to send the police to his house to do a wellness check. And, now in defense of that company, they didn't go to the Texas Public Utility Regulator and ask for a refund. They said, we'll pay the delta. Anyway, so I'm not inclined to be supportive of this request.
Yeah, Commissioner Suchman. Then.
It seems to be, and actually that is sort of interesting that you are confirming for us what we believe, which is that you should not be on the interruptible rate. Interruptible rates are incredibly valuable for customers that actually can do it, and it's incredibly important for the system. There are going to be moments where supply is an issue, and we need to make sure that customers like Commissioner Barvet's father-in-law are taken care of. That's the last thing we want is for situations where customers who really need gas don't have gas because we've got a supply issue. But that said, it just seems to me that recognizing that you needed this thermocouple, not having and knowing that it is not a part that can easily be replaced. The fact that you didn't have redundancy there sort of says to me that companies like yours are very valuable to the state of Maryland should not be on an interruptible rate, and perhaps that is kind of the message to other companies out there that are currently on interruptible rates. We have to be able to rely on your ability to have your service interrupted. You can't comply with that, and I understand that I'm very pleased that you didn't sort of interrupt service and run the risk of blowing up your furnace and killing lots of people. I appreciate you not doing that, but I think the reality is that company, your GAF, would not have done that, and you wouldn't have done it because that would not have made any sense to do it. So you don't. I'm sorry, you don't get extra brownie points for not doing what you shouldn't have done in the first place. But I just have a lot of problems. Sort of accepting that any reduction in penalty is appropriate.
Commissioner, if I could just respectfully respond that in the last curtailment in 2019, we were able to fully comply. So, I mean, we have been participating in this program for a while, and we have been able, when these curtailments come up, to comply.
Well, but on some level, that's almost worse because in that situation, the BGE or Washington Gas or whatever, or Columbia Gas in Maryland, then you become an unreliable interruptible customer. And that on some level is worse than never. If you never complied, then any company that you're in, because I understand you're in multiple places in Maryland, would not expect you to comply. But an interruptible customer that's not reliable, that's a problem customer too.
Commissioner Linton.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I just wanted to make sure I was clear about your response to the staff's recommendation that the fine be diminished by 25%. Your original request was that it be waived entirely. What was your direct response to their claim?
Yeah, our original request was that it be waived entirely, as we feel we've met the legal standard of exercising good faith, but we are appreciative of the 25% reduction and would gladly accept it.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
So the discussion so far has been that your choice was, switch to the alternative fuel, but that created safety issues. But was any consideration given to just shutting down until the crisis passed?
Yeah, that was certainly something that was heavily considered, and I'll let Mr. Clota speak to kind of what the implications of that would have been.
Good morning. So essentially, the management team decided not to do that.
Can you speak up a little bit?
Yep.
Yeah.
Mainly because you would then lose your heating systems. So you have a lot of gallons of asphalt within the system that would then solidify and basically damage a lot of the systems, and also provide a pressurized setting that when we would then come back with the heat to melt everything and restart everything, we would then be having a lot of plugs or pressurized points in the system, which could cause problems in startup and other safety issues. So the management team felt that we could not do that as we were not capable of doing so.
Okay. All right, so I'm going to move that we take this under advisement.
Does OPC have?
Oh, okay, yeah. So,
Juliana Bell for the Office of People's Counsel. We also filed a brief letter on this matter and just wanted to note a couple of the things the commissioners have already emphasized. Residential ratepayers do have an indirect interest in what happens with interruptible service penalties. We do think there should be a significant penalty in this case, but don't take a particular position on exactly what that penalty should be. Just wanted to note the two reasons, which Commissioner Suchman and Commissioner Barve have already highlighted. The first one, the failure to comply with a notice of interruption does put gas service for residential customers at risk in the service territory. And number two, the penalties that are paid are distributed by BGE as a credit through the bill stabilization adjustment mechanism to other ratepayers, including residential ratepayers. BGE corrected my comments the last time I spoke about this, and I apologize for not getting that right the first time, but the entire penalty, as I understand it, is redistributed to customers. So there is though admittedly de minimis financial interest, there's a financial interest as well on the part of residential customers to having a fine here. Thank you.
Commissioner Barve.
Does the Office of the People's Counsel are you ever concerned about the principle of moral hazard, that if too many of these waivers are granted, a message will be sent to the commercial power and gas users that, you should just go on interruptible service, and if something goes wrong, send a lawyer into the PSC and get it waived? Do you ever worry about the public policy ramifications of something that's ordinarily considered, described as moral hazard?
Your Honor, we didn't use the words moral hazard in our letter, but we did say that we thought it was important that these interruptible service notices not be treated as a mere suggestion for just that reason. We want folks who are on interruptible service to be able to comply with the notices for the reasons you and Commissioner Suchman have already highlighted and that we stated in our letter.
Well, I'll just say that one year I actually paid my quarterly taxes a little late, and I got penalized. That's just the way it works when you don't comply. You don't have to answer that. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Anybody else for OPC? Okay, so we're actually going to take this under advisement, and we will be issuing a formal order in due course.
Thank you very much. We appreciate the Commission's time today.
Items 12 and 13 are tariff revisions to the Green Rider rates for Delmarva Power and Light Company and the Potomac Electric Power Company.
Good morning, Chair and Commissioners. Paige Shaw on behalf of staff. On June 30th, 2025, DPL and PEPCO submitted proposed tariff revisions to their Green Rider rates to reflect up-to-date renewable energy credit market prices. The rider provides 100% renewable energy, and it is voluntary for the plug-in vehicle and residential plug-in vehicle rate schedules and mandatory for the public charging plug-in vehicle rate schedule. The proposed rate is 0.01875 cents per kilowatt hour, which is a 15.3% decrease over the existing rate of 0.02212 cents per kilowatt hour. Staff recommends that the Commission accept the tariff pages for filing with an effective date of August 1, 2025. And with that, staff is available for any questions.
Any questions? Seeing none?
Good morning, Taylor Beckham on behalf of Delmarva Power and Light Company and Potomac Electric Power Company. We appreciate staff's review and are here if you have any questions.
Any questions for PEPCO or DPL? All right. Regarding item 12, I move we accept the tariff revisions for filing with an effective date of August 1, 2025. Commissioner McLean.
Aye.
Commissioner Litton.
Aye.
Commissioner Suchman.
Aye.
Commissioner Barbe. I vote aye. And regarding item 13, I move we accept the tariff revisions for filing with an effective date of August 1, 2025. Commissioner McLean.
Aye.
Commissioner Linton.
Aye.
Commissioner Sussman.
Aye.
Commissioner Barbe. I vote aye. And with that, we're adjourned.